Is there a mistake that you've made in building any of your businesses that you can say, this is the one thing I say do not do, or the one thing you should do when building a business?
I guess the mistake is doing too much.
Okay.
And I don't know how it started, but sometimes like I've been fortunate enough to be good in multiple areas, and probably the mistake is not figuring out which one or pursuing one area, and then mastering that. And if I can go back, I probably would try to do it that way. Okay. The problem is, even to this day, I can't pick which one it is. You know what I mean? And so that's the hard part. I love basketball, so I was a basketball player. I would have loved to pursue basketball. Maybe I'd have been a coach or whatever. You know what I mean? Graphics. It's to me, that was the biggest thing. Other than that, everything else was just been about growing and learning from your mistakes, and going from there. I can't think of anything that I say, man, I wish I wouldn't have did that. Yeah. It's just some mistakes you just got to learn from them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Obviously, in the restaurant, we up and down. Oh man, we shouldn't have did that. We should have did this. We should have said this. You know what I mean? So, but it's really just that. All these different lanes, man. Just picking one and mastering it, and then, like I said, once you master it, the money come, and then you can go back and pick up the other areas if you want.
Welcome back to another episode of We Are the Ones podcast. This is the podcast where we have extraordinary. Come on, what?
Your voice booming today.
I'm having my practice in.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, continue.
This is the podcast where we have extraordinary conversations. Extraordinary conversations with extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. You just threw me way off just now. I was like, I lost my thought.
Man, I was like, why is voice booming today?
I'm trying to get them contracts out here. I gotta,
Trying to do voiceovers or something?
Do voiceovers. Start doing audio books.
Airplane commercials, what you trying to get into?
Be one of my hustles, man. But no, I'm excited to be here today. What's up, Avi? How you feeling?
What's up? Good.
Yeah.
Are you okay from yesterday?
Yeah. Okay. It was a rough day. It was a rough day.
I know.
Our team didn't. They didn't
I know.
Go.
It's okay.
They got caught up. They got jammed up a little bit, but it's cool. We got next season. Okay. A friend of mine had posted about this on social media. She was saying it was a good run this season. We got next year, but she was like, I'm tired of saying, oh, we're gonna do it next year.
I know. I keep seeing that
and I'm
too.
Just like, oh yeah, that just hit me in a certain type of way, but
I know.
But it's all good. It's funny because I went to go grab something to eat from the Caribbean restaurant earlier today, and I saw actually one of the Bills players in there. He was just in there, and I didn't know who it was. It was just this dude. He had dreads or whatever, and I'm just like, and all I saw was the back of his head, and he's taking mad long, and I'm like, I'm in a rush. I'm hungry. I just wanted some chicken patties real quick, and he's just standing there mad long, and I'm just like. And I wanted to curse him. I wanted to curse him about something like, yo, hurry your ass up. You know what I'm saying? And then he turned around and I was like, oh, Jermaine Evans. Oh.
Look at that. Because he's probably having a bad day right now.
He looked like he was fine.
Oh.
He looked like he was just fine. He got his food and he was good.
Food makes everything better. You know that.
Yeah, shout out to the Bills, man. It's gonna be we had a good run this season. We're gonna come back healthier next year.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna do it big. But speaking of Bills, we have one of the biggest Bills fans with us today.
Absolutely.
One of the biggest Bills fans. And this brother, man, I can't say enough about our guest for today. When you talk about someone being, they often talk about, don't be a jack of all trades and master of none. Mm-hmm. This guy somehow is a jack of all trades and master of all
of them. I know. Hands down.
There are a few people here, especially here in the city of Buffalo, who I think kind of hit that legendary status. And I think today's guest is one of those people.
Going down in history.
Yeah, he is. We talk about one of Buffalo's children. He's the one. He's a serial entrepreneur. He has some amazing businesses. He has a magazine, clothing line. All of these are successful businesses as well. He has an amazing restaurant that's like,
which is like the Cheers of Buffalo.
Absolutely.
It's definitely like the Cheers of Buffalo. Yeah.
He's a graphic designer.
Man,
an amazing guy. I go to him for a lot of my graphics.
And your turnaround time is impeccable.
Impeccable, man.
Seriously.
Impeccable.
Man.
One of the best graphic designers, probably, if not the best, especially here in this area.
Yeah.
And then he also has an amazing, successful event planning business we want to talk about today, because we really want to teach people how they can grow and scale their businesses to the next level the same way he did.
And if anybody knows,
it's this brother right here.
Anybody knows.
But on top of all of that, he's a teacher as well. He's a teacher in the Buffalo public school system. He's been teaching for a long time.
Long time.
Long time. And not a substitute teacher. He's a real teacher. He's a real teacher.
He's in there full time.
He's in there full time. You know,
W-2s and everything.
But no, we are super excited to have a good friend of mine, my brother, Mr. Dennis Wilson, Mr. D. Wilson himself. What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
First, I want to say thank you, because anytime somebody call you and ask to be on your podcast, to me, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
That means, it's something you're doing right, and, they want your presence. So, it's an honor. So it's definitely an honor always to work with you. Definitely to work with you. So I'm here. I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to chat. Let's get it in, man.
We ready to get it in, man. No, we really appreciate you, bro. Like you are doing some amazing things, and you have been consistently doing these things for a number of years now. Again, you've done things that stood the test of time. Even for example, with the restaurant, with the Oak Room, we've seen, unfortunately, sometimes we see a lot of black businesses, black restaurants that kind of come and go. But for some way, somehow, yours is always it's consistent. It's always stood the test of time. I know you guys just recently did a reopening because you were closed for a while because of the pandemic. But you opened back up, and it's like you didn't miss a beat. Right,
I'm telling you.
And then the food, and I think we had an event there maybe earlier last month, earlier this month. I'm sorry, and with my company, and the new chef they got. Oh my God,
they got it.
Them wings. Those wings? Those wings?
Because I was about to say the breakfast. Oh my goodness, the breakfast.
Yeah, we ain't bring back the breakfast. Not yet.
Oh.
It's a lot of work on that one.
I'll eat those wings for breakfast. That's how good them damn wings are, man.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
But yeah, I mean, you've just been able to do things at a very high level. Been able to scale several businesses at a very high level, and like I said, and do it pretty consistently. So what's been your secret, bro?
The secret is consistency. To be honest, everything you do goes up and down, and sometimes people get too high, get too low. Bill's lost yesterday. Now fire everybody. No, you gotta relax. We gotta relax. We was 14.
Everybody gotta go.
We was 14-4. We had a good season. We go back next year. We're still closer to winning the Super Bowl than starting over.
Right.
You know what I mean? So in life, I try not to get too high, not to get too low, and just be consistent. So that's that's my secret to sauce or whatever you want to call it. It's just being consistent in what you do, and everything that I try to do, I want to have some longevity in it. Yeah. So before I started, I try to at least have that mindset of something I'm going to be doing consistently for whenever it ends. You know what I mean? So that's my goal of everything that I try to do.
So Dennis, when it comes to time management, because I can't even imagine, is it some sort of I don't know, do you have something in place to keep your time? Is there a calendar? Is there
there's a lot of tools.
Yeah.
So one of the things too I learned, and when you're younger, you think you can do everything.
Yeah.
So now that I'm a little bit older, a little bit more seasoned, I know how to kind of put things in compartments or, in times. And sometimes I'm saying I'm not doing nothing, and I understand how to do that and to be firm with it. So a lot of times, if Jamil call, can you do this? Jamil's my guy, Usually I can't tell Jamil no. Right. You know what I mean? So I had to tell Jamil I could do it Wednesday. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just to kind of, learn how to break your time up. I'm a teacher, as he said. Been teaching 23 years, and I'm blessed to have a job where I do graphics. So that allows me to continue to grow, to continue to learn how to do new things that I'm teaching the students, but it also allows me to do graphics all day. So then when I leave work, I'm not redoing graphics,
right?
You know what I mean, too. So, and then with teaching, one thing about teaching, obviously you're off weekends, holidays, and summers, so it gives you a lot of free time to pursue other businesses and just do other things that you want to do with your life. So that's the one good thing about teaching, that, that's the trade-off.
With that schedule.
We don't get the salaries that we really want, but we get the time to go chase those salaries, I guess.
So is that one of the reasons why you got into teaching, is because of, that?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty much luck, man. I played basketball at Canisius, for those who didn't know. And when I graduated, I'm sitting there like, okay, I'm working security. We was doing music at the time. We had a rap group, and I'm like, this is my life. I was working security, a little flashlight, you know what I mean? So it's like, wow, this is
Where's security at, bro?
So over here on Fugeron, you got Nabisco, the dog food plant. The crazy part, it's the dog food plant, right?
Yeah.
The cleanest place I ever worked at in my life.
Wow.
A dog food plant.
On Fugeron, which is in the hood.
The
cleanest place I ever worked in my life.
Wow.
This place was meticulously, like, I'm talking about super clean. So long story short, I was working security, and I'm like, man, I graduated. My coach, before I graduated, asked me what I wanted to do, where I wanted to work at. But I didn't want to work for the news stations or whatever. I didn't want to do that graphic type. So I'm just like, man. So I called school. I called Canisius, like, yo, I want to go to grad school. It was like, well, did you take the GREs, I think it was, or whatever? Like, nah. I don't know. I think it was another test. It was like, you take that? I'm like, no. It was like, well, all right. I play basketball, you know what I mean? So they was like, come down. What you want to do? We got the education program, we got the business program. I want to own my own business. We was doing the music and everything, and we had this bad boy thing. We're gonna have this multimedia thing, which we was kind of working toward, but and the money. So then I get to Canisius and I go in the bookstore and I'm going to look at the books for business, and that joint started adding up. At that point, I had never paid for a book because I was in the COAT program, which is like the HLP.
Oh, and they pay for everything.
Yeah. Yep. So this is my first time having to pay for books. Oh my gosh. So I'm like,
Them books.
no.
Yep.
So I went to the education. I had a history professor that I loved, Dr. Banchek. Funny as hell. So I'm like, you know what? I kept taking his classes. So I'm like, I got a history minor. I can go teach history. So I went in education, got the books. Okay, I can afford these. And that's how I got an education. Dead serious.
Really?
Yep. And
just because of the cost of the books, you used to say, I'll go this way.
Yep. And that was it. And then it kind of just went from there.
And it just kind of stuck for the last 23 years.
I started going it out. Started subbing. I had quit my security job, started subbing. I took a pay cut, which was crazy because I was a supervisor, even though I was only making $675 an hour.
$675,000 an hour.
So I was subbing. With subbing, you got flexibility. So I would go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm out partying Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know what I mean? Okay, I can't come today. I can go today. So it gave me that flexibility, but it also helped me with classroom management because when you sub, you're a sub.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure you remember what you was like when the sub was in the class. So in my first assignment was, I think, school 37 right here in the Fruit Belt. So it was been day one. And I was able to...
Oh, man.
7th to 8th grade.
It
was crazy. It was crazy. But I was able, even after 21-year-old, because I was 21 at the time, I was able to go into the school and... manage the kids, manage the students. And so I had a gift for being able to manage the situations. So the kids who was normally running around being a terror, they weren't. Yeah. You know what I mean? People couldn't understand how I was able to do it because I don't yell. I'm quiet, But I was able to do it, and I was able to build my skills through substitute teaching. And then my next assignment was Kensington High School. So you can imagine, I'm 21, the student's 21.
It's like, lean on me.
It was crazy. I remember, I'm dead serious. So I remember this vividly. So we had Kensington. I think I had a chemistry class or whatever. Now, chemistry at Kensington, you probably had 10 kids in this class. Maybe, right? And that's not saying nothing. Just worried over shade.
You're about to get it, then.
So I got chemistry. I'm subbing. It's like 50 kids in my class right now. So Mr. Burton come walking down the hallway. He clearing the halls, whatever. He looked in the classroom. They all sitting down, chilling. He looked in, just dipped, and I just knew then. I'm like, okay. Like,
you had 50 kids in the room.
They was in there because they was just chilling. Like they came in there like, okay, I'm cool in here. And usually they went rowdy, they sitting down chilling. Like my thing is, okay, if you don't want to learn, you ain't going to learn, but you ain't going to bother everybody else. Sit down and relax. And, that worked for me for 23 years now. So,
wow. And it really doesn't seem like you get riled up at all, Dennis. Like, does youth not even rile you up?
At times, it's rare. Like, yesterday during the game, I was, but, like, I understand, like, back to compartmentalizing things. I know when to have fun, when not to. Like, it's funny because some people are like, man, when do you have fun? I'm like,
so trust me, Dennis knows how to have fun.
Oh yeah, we get
secret locations.
Definitely secret location. Can't even tell you how the secret location started because that's why it was a secret location. But I know how to have fun, like, and I know the balance. You know what I mean? But you got to be a professional at times.
Yeah. And
you got to be able to turn it on. Especially for us, we have to be able to turn it on and turn it off.
All the time.
You know what I mean? I can't just go in class cussing and like I'm with my cousins or whatever. So,
right.
And so on and so forth. So I know when to have fun and when not to. And then too, like if I don't know you, I'm not just...
Okay.
I got to be comfortable around you because I don't like to censor everything I say. And then, you take something. People take stuff a certain way.
My goodness, so offended.
And they turn into drama and all that stuff. And we don't like drama and all that stuff. So we have fun.
That's cool.
That's what's up, man. So... we talked about this earlier. You have been able to successfully grow and scale many businesses as a serial entrepreneur. You talk about the restaurant, you got the clothing line, the graphic design company. Which one of those, which one was the one of all of the businesses that you have that's been the one that's been like the most successful?
Probably the graphic design.
Okay.
Because that's the hub. We say Oak Room is a Cheers. Graphic design is the hub for everything. Now it's the hub for teaching because I teach it. I teach graphic design and print. It's the hub for the restaurant because the restaurant success basically came from the success from both of us as being promoters. Me and Kurt. I was a promoter. The promoter's success came from me doing graphics. Like I remember I was broke. I printed out a portfolio. This is when you print stuff.
You was broke before Dennis?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. I would have never met.
Yeah. Grew up right around the corner. So I remember taking my portfolio and trying to pitch it. So I went into different bars and clubs. Yo, this is what I do, Turn the pages. This is when you print out Kinko, go to Kinko and print everything out. So I got all mixtape covers and flyers. And so I went to Safel Owens, who was at Birchfield's and Sensations. And he was like, all right. And I started doing designs for Sensations, the Basement nightclub. Remember downtown?
Yeah.
Started doing the Basement, and it was probably a couple more. Then I started doing stuff for DJ Hassan, and then before you know it, I was in the back rooms. So now I get a chance to not only do the flyers, I'm getting into these places for free because I still ain't got no couple dollars, you know what I mean? But now I get a chance to hear the information of what's going on, and so then I took that information when it was time for us to do our events. We started with the high school parties, bouncing the club and all that stuff back in the early 2000s or whatever. And we were still doing music, so we had performed and all that type of stuff too.
Wow.
So then we just kind of took all that stuff that we learned during those years and went from there. My cousin went to Buff State, so we was always in the Buff State studio.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, he went to jail basically over it because he kept getting parking tickets. I would be at Kenesha's editing, and they would just leave me up in Kenesha's. Security come like, man, just lock up, man. Like so we just kind of was just students of that stuff and just kept going and going and doing. And now it's blossoming into everything that you see, and know, so it's kind of.
So I know. Oh, did you have a question?
No, right.
You good? Okay. So I know that graphic design was your first passion, but is there a passion that you have in another business that you are doing now that's bigger than your graphic
Absolutely.
design?
The events, man. The events.
That's your passion.
I like the events because I think my gift is to bring people together and make people enjoy themselves. That's why, like, I put a stat up today about the photo shoots. We're about to start the Miami Nights photo shoots,
I saw that earlier.
which y'all both should be in. I'll be trying to get that.
Say less.
But a lot of times I create those photo shoots basically to make the events do better, but at the same time advertise our small businesses. Yeah. So now small business owners can be in photo shoots and they can get free advertising as they advertise in the event too. And to get people out of their shell, because a lot of times we need somebody else to help you get out of your shell and get you somewhere else. So
I'm so glad you said that because some of the photos that I've seen, the people, I'm like, oh, really? I would have never imagined they would have been okay in front of a camera. So yeah, that's really good.
And some people not. And so, sometimes you gotta, you can do it, and then they be happy they experience it because every time we do these photo shoots, they like parties. And then you meet people and y'all laughing in the midst of y'all waiting for you to shoot and we having a good time, and then you got a rapport with people. and you're meeting new friends, and before you know it, you got another family.
Yeah, another network. The one thing you do so well with your events, Dennis, and if there's a secret, please let us know. But whenever you do an event, we know it's not going to be no riffraff. Like how do you manage to keep it to a certain type of audience to where they know it's going to be grown and sexy? It's not going to be all that other stuff. Like how do you do that?
And to piggyback off of that, he has such a wide. He casts a wide net when it comes to the people that comes. I mean, you have people on a younger scale. You got people a little bit more seasoned. So you have paying attention. But you got you really have like a wide. You cast a wide net and have a wide swath of people who come. And like you said, it's always this very high caliber.
It's very,
high caliber.
You dictate the environment. So they're going to follow who's the leader. And in that case, I'm the leader. So if I get into arguments with my wife and we going crazy, then people are going to think that's okay. If before I was married, if I'm out here doing everything that people think is okay, if I'm always into drama, into fighting, then that's. But if you know me, I'm not into none of that. Most of the time, man, if I did do some stuff, you wouldn't know about it. Keep, you got to keep your integrity, keep your things to yourself and everything. And two, I just want people to enjoy themselves. Have fun. You can let loose, but without losing your job, losing your career.
Right.
Like I remember going out, and when you don't have a lot of money, you try to make sure every drink or every piece of food you eat. But I'm like, man, I don't have to finish that last drink. I can afford $10. $10 is cheaper than a DWI.
Come on.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of people don't have that thinking. Once I start having that thought, I'm just like, okay, you just got to enjoy yourself with moderation. That's it. You know what I mean? Right. Sometimes the church try to tell people not to have fun, and I hate to say it, but no, you got to have fun. You got to be able to let loose, especially if you got kids. You got to get away from the kids. You know what I mean?
Trust me, I know.
So you got to have fun. You got to be able to let loose now. Enjoy yourself, and then the people you see enjoying themselves, celebrities, I hate to say the drug dealers or the people with tons of money, but everybody can enjoy themselves. Everybody can travel. You know what I mean? I never sold a drug in my life. Never did a drug in my life, except Elevate. And
that one.
But that wasn't my lifestyle. But I got a chance to travel the country playing ball. I got a chance to travel the country doing events. I got to go to Bills games. They announced the London game. My phone, before I even woke up, my phone was ringing off the hook. Like, yo, we going to London? You playing the trip? So, I get a chance to have fun. You can have fun without doing all the riffraff and go crazy stuff.
So what I'm hearing you say is that basically you are the face of the event planning. So if people know, like what your core values are, that's the type of people that you're going to attract.
Absolutely. Like usually during the day, like a lot of times in school now, and I'm a graphic designer, so I wear a lot of sweats. I wear a lot of people's clothing lines and stuff like that to work. Today I was coming on a podcast, so I'm like, let me throw the turtleneck on. Because it's the environment, like, you know what I mean? You know where you're going. You don't, you know what I mean? So it's the same type of thing. People know what they're going to get. So I don't want to be around drama and fighting. If y'all get to argue them out.
Like I had enough of this podcast, y'all.
Like, Rodney, man, they was crazy. They was out there arguing, man.
No, that's really good though, because I think people really need to understand that you are the face of whatever it is you're building.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're going to attract that audience and the type of people that you want.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's really important for people to really let that internalize. They got to internalize this stuff, because especially people looking to get into this event planning space.
Right.
Because I tried the event planning thing. I started out doing some party promotions when I was in college, right? And, first couple parties, they were okay, I just didn't have the tolerance for it. As I continue to grow, my tolerance level just like
that's tough. That's tough.
And dealing with certain people, certain crowds, certain club owners and venue owners and things like that. It was just like my patience was real thin, And then sometimes dealing with janky promoters who, if you're doing an event for them, and they only, they supposed to give you a certain amount of bread at the end of the night, and then they come to you like, oh, we didn't really do that well. But I'm just like, yo, bro, I see all the people that came through the door.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me you didn't do well.
Yeah.
That happened to me once too. Like, it actually happened to me a couple of times. But but so I'm in the event planning space right now. You know, my stuff is more along the lines of it's corporate stuff, award shows, things like that. You know, like not the party space anymore. You know, so that's my lane. You know, and I feel like I've been able to do it successfully over a number of years now. But you know, one of the things I wanted to know from you is that, well, it's a few things because you've been able to do this stuff and do it successfully. But I always tell people all the time that you can never grow and scale something successfully on your own. So can you talk about team? Like how does team look for you in the success of your business?
So the team comes in the people around you for the most part. I mean, for my events, I'm the brainchild, you know, which is cool. But now, you know, obviously I'm married. So one of the things you want to do when you're married is make sure you ask your wife's opinion. My wife
Very
is
good.
not just because I want to get her opinion, but she has a skill. Like she creates ideas. Like my wife is an idea person, and she come up with some of the dopest ideas. She's a creative too in her way. She was in communications when she was at Bus State early on before she switched to nursing and so on and so forth. So she had the genius with that. So I'm tapping into it, and you know, she's come up with ideas, and then my job is to execute. You know. Then I got Lanishas, I got Diane's, I got Yvette's, I got Kurt's around me. Kurt, y'all know Kurt. Yeah. Kurt is absolute. He gonna tell you what he feel. He don't care about your feelings. So you need that. You need you don't want to have yes people around you.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the team, and now I'm starting to learn how to build a bigger team because my projects are getting bigger. You know, the events are getting bigger. Now Yvette coordinates the events on the day of the event because I needed an event coordinator because it was just too overwhelming. And Lindsay, thanks to Lindsay Taylor, who basically told me what I needed because I didn't know what I needed. And now I'm able to hire Yvette, who is the perfect person because she is organized. She's mean when she needs to be mean. You do, because you know how people it is when you're dealing with the events. You have to be firm. And that's another reason of the success of the events, because when I create rules, not only do I make sure those are the rules, I follow them. You know what I mean? And the people who around me has to follow the rules. So, you know, like dress code, if it's, my mom has to be in dress code. You know what I mean? Sure. If she's not in dress code, she can't get in. Like, you know what I mean? Now, if my mom can follow the dress code, then everybody has to follow the dress code. There's no, oh man, it don't make a difference. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. So I try to be fair, but at the same time firm too. And it's just like the classroom. You know, so. Let
me ask you a question, man, because you talk about team and all the people that you just named, with the exception of Kurt. These are all black women, right?
I knew you was gonna see that.
Yeah, and because we talk about this all the time, and I'm a firm believer that when you want something done and done right, have a woman do it, but also have a black woman do it. You know, so can you talk to that, like the importance of having black women kind of helping you spearhead and kind of helping you scale and get things to the next level?
You know what? I never even looked at it like that, to be honest. Which is, I just looked at, you know, they're great people. They have great ideas, and they have my best interests. So we all share a love, like, you know, a family love. So they have my best interests. So I never look at it as like, okay, I need a black woman to. I just don't. I just look at it like, okay, I just know that she has, or he has, or whoever has my best interest. I know for a fact that Kurt has my best interest at heart. He's shown it to me over and over again, it's not just him saying I love you, it's just actions and the restaurant and everything that we go through. Obviously I know my wife has my best interest, you know what I mean? And I get the brunt of it too when she don't like something, you know, and she'll tell me, and you know, and you need that. So to me, you want to just be around good people. You know what I mean? I got a mentor, Christel Prince, you know what I mean? That's my guy, you know what I mean? Usually when I tell him something or get his advice, he chop it up and, you know, make me feel small when I leave there. But it builds me back up because now I got a different appreciation for stuff. So now I take those things and go back to the classroom and tell the kids the same thing. How
successful would you be right now without a mentor? Because I think people don't understand the importance of having a mentor.
That's a good question. I don't know. I think me personally, because I was always driven, I would be fine. Okay. But that's just my personality, and just I think 10% of students will do well regardless of any situation they put you. I'm one of those 10%. I'm just I'm gonna figure it out and I'm gonna do. But you know, some people do need that because they need that when especially when things are going down. I know for a fact that it's gonna go down, it's gonna go back up. But some
Right.
people, when they go down, they just lose interest and they quit. And that's when your mentors or the people around you kick in, at least tell you those experiences.
Yeah. You
No,
got something?
I want to
Okay,
stay
go
on this
ahead.
mentor thing for a second. So you talk about mentors and the people that's been mentoring who've been instrumental in your life. Have you been able to reciprocate that for other people?
Oh yeah, I've been doing it since day one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know me, I'm a liaison. So whatever anybody call, I'm okay. This is who does this. This who does this. I'll try to help as much as I can. If I can, I will. You get that in graphic design all the time, and that's sometimes some of the frustration too, because people want you. I know for me, people call me and they want me to do their event, and I'm like, I can't do your event. You know what I mean? I can't put that time and energy into it. But this is kind of some of the things you need to do. So I do it all the time, and I do it just because to me that's just your natural thing as a person. I'm not super religious, but I just feel like you just be a good person. To be a good person, you gotta spread that back. So
Yeah. So with you being a serial entrepreneur, how did you know when to go to the next thing? Because as we spoke, we like to put our hands in a lot of things, just say whatever works. But how did you know when to move to the next thing with everything that you have going on?
I can't say I knew.
Oh, okay. So it was trial and error as well.
And I think that's what we was talking about before we went on. How you into multiple things, and from our generation, I think we kind of grew up similar. I know we have a little bit.
Right.
We didn't have the resources, so you're trying to figure out which one of these million things go.
You're just throwing stuff on the wall to see what's going to stick.
And like during the pandemic, wasn't nothing going on. So let me try this clothing. Let me talk to Alibaba at 3 o'clock in the morning every night while I'm watching Netflix, and figure this out. Spend some money with them, and figure that part out. So it was just like you always trying different things. And so now I'm in a point where I'm expanding on the events, but I'm scaling back some of the other stuff, like the magazine I kind of scaled back on, just because I was funding it out of my pocket. It was good, but it needed more work. It needed a bigger team. And I just didn't want to put that energy into that. So we got the community honors that we do with the best happy hour every week. So we want to continue that. I do the photo shoots with the different businesses. So I want to continue that theme within those structures. But the events is the thing that's, to me, that's going to allow me to change my zip code, I guess you want to say.
Put a couple of extra commas in that bank account,
or at least attempt to it. You know what I mean? That's the dream, and that's what I love to do.
No, I mean you're doing it really well and doing it really successfully. You're talking about expanding on some of the events that you have, because when you first started, you were doing you talked about it a little bit, but I think when you first came on my radar, I would say like that. You were doing your all white parties, right? And this was when it was back at 550, so this was way back when.
13 years ago.
Yeah. Again, but you have, you started doing the all whites, then you rebranded it to Miami Nights, right? And then that thing has then just took on a life of its own. I mean, to the point where, I used to have people come to me like, why is this, like, and I tell you straight up, people was like, why is this dude doing this party called Miami Nights? We ain't in Miami. But then he took it to Miami. And then he took it to Miami and started doing it. You know what I'm saying? But it was almost like, you're bringing a vibe, you're bringing a feeling, because we're here in Buffalo. It's cold, half the year. We don't have those different type of experiences, right? So to have someone like yourself, a visionary like yourself, who you're able to bring these type of vibes and type of experiences, these are things that's needed here, right? So, but again, you've been doing this thing, again, successfully for a number of years now, and now you're really starting to expand. So kind of talk about where the events are going.
So the next event, before I created Sneaker Ball, obviously, I think y'all seen it.
I saw it.
So,
I'll be there.
because I wanted to go to Sneaker Ball. We see it in different cities, so I always try to make sure we have something in our city that goes on everywhere else. You know what I mean? So creating that. But Miami Nights, this is the 13th year. It was Diddy style at first.
Yeah.
Because Diddy was famous for the white party.
White party Diddy style. I remember that.
Yep. And then I switched it to Miami Nights. And the reason why I switched it was just crazy. I seen a flyer from Houston. I don't even remember what this flyer looked like. I remember what it looked like. I don't remember what it was. But I took the design. I'm like, yo, I love this design. And it had the words and it had whatever inside of the words. And so then I'm like, okay. Somehow I said Miami Nights all white, and I put the Miami in the Miami. And to me, that was the greatest gift ever. Like I was like, yo, this is fire, and that's how Miami Nights started. It was the first one was that Blush, and it kind of went from there. And then to me, it was just the vibe of I wanted that Miami. You know, like when you see Miami, you just think of that white cool, calmness, the swagger. You know, and then so we just kind of roll with it. So now we had a point. I called Riverworks a couple weeks ago and was like, yo, I think we need to do downstairs too. Last year we had upstairs and downstairs, but we only had a part of it. But now, you know, Riverworks downstairs is huge.
That's huge.
So I'm like, we're gonna do the party downstairs and VIP all upstairs. So she was like, well, we can do that, but come through. We just built another piece. I'm like, built another piece?
They
Where?
sure did. Yep.
I'm like, where? So I go down to the meeting on Wednesday. During lunch. I'm blown away. Because I'm like, every problem that I had, because you know, every year you have issues or whatever, and you try to address those issues. So one of the issues is VIP, but people who go sit in other people's areas that don't belong in those areas.
Yep.
I don't know why you would do that. You didn't pay for that, but that's just, you know, I mean, it is what it is. But it's my problem, and I got to alleviate it. So now they built this new room upstairs. So I'm like, okay, that's the VIP room.
Yeah.
So now we got a whole new room that you can still see everything, you know, the glass. So now, like, okay, if I want to do a celebrity, they got its own entrance, got its own bathroom, got green rooms. We got literally everything. And I'm just like, wow. Like, so that's the expansion for this year. As far as the Black Party presidential, we just expanded on what we did. Rhonda is expanding with the Nurses Ball.
Yes.
So,
amazing.
Yes.
Those two events, and I think we created something. We created something that you probably won't see anywhere in the world. You're not going to see a nurses ball or a nurses dinner and be able to have the fun that you're going to have that night. Nowhere in the world. It's not going to happen. So most times you got to go to dinner, you eat, you say words or whatever.
Yeah.
They try to get you to dance for a minute and then you go home. Your feet hurt and everything. Now people turned up, and now you're super turned up because they ready. They switching clothes. They going to this next door, and they can't wait to get in other rooms to see what's going on and have a good time. So together we created something that's just unique, and those things are expanding because they're growing as their nursing organization. And so that's good for me. Obviously my wife doing well, but too, to see what they're doing for the nursing community. So it's like a party with a purpose.
Yeah.
And so then you got the pink party, which we keep expanding, which you've been, have you?
Yeah, I've been.
I don't think you've been.
I haven't been yet.
What was it, Derby? I think it was.
Yeah, in Derby, New York. So
that joint was amazing.
We expanded that last year. We brought we had the mechanical bull. We had the Canna House out there. We brought the food trucks in for the first time.
Nice.
They sold out of everything. So now we got to add more food trucks. We're going to add more games. We was trying to get a Ferris wheel at one point, but
if anybody's going to have a Ferris wheel, it's going to be Dennis.
Actually, it was John Stover, who I do the pink party with.
Jay.
That was his idea, and we was trying to get in, and they kind of, by the time we was able to book it, they wouldn't. It was just didn't fall through. So, but we trying to add more things, and it's just a beautiful event. It's totally different from the other ones. And it's just a good vibe, calmness. You know what I mean? So. Just trying to expand on those, and then I already talked to Jamil about the next big project in 2024, which is Music and Soul Food Festival.
Oh yes.
So we have Juneteenth, which is probably the only African American festival we have, I think.
Yeah.
And it's more cultural, and I wanted to have another festival that we can create that go back to longevity, have some longevity with.
Yeah.
That's not so much cultural, but it's more or less, it still represents our culture. But when you think of food and music, soul food, soul music, you know what I mean? That's a whole
And we
nother
see them in so many different places too.
Yeah.
Like we go to, they got, even as close as Rochester has some stuff, Toronto, we see Cleveland, all of the cities that's immediately around us, they have this stuff. It was just like, it's no reason that we don't have it here.
I just think the people who was in charge of these things, they don't help the next generation.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk bad about nobody or whatever everything, but you have to be able to lead the next group, or at least help them, take over or whatever. Even if it's your family members, you know what I mean? So to me, we don't do a good job of that here, and the people in the powers that be here, period. I just don't think we pass on the baton or identify people that are good in a certain area and let them people rock.
Yeah. Oh my God, man!
We don't do that.
I
was say, don't even start.
You're in the
Don't
nerve
get
right
him
now,
started.
bro. Because I've been saying this for years. I've been arguing this for years. How you have, one pocket of our community, one generation of our community. They're kind of so hell bent on just holding on to power and just, because, okay, this is probably when they did come into power or influence or whatever, this is probably their first time ever getting into that space, right? So now that they have it, it's just like, I'm gonna hold on. They want to die with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like literally, they want to die with it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you can never grow that way.
Yeah.
You can never grow that way. You have to be able to pass this stuff along to the next generation so we can continue to see these cycles.
And
right?
the one thing that I've been able to do with my events is create areas of entertainment for every group of people.
Yeah.
And to me, that's an easy thing to do. So a lot of times when those people won't give up the power, they just not realizing like we can create areas and environments for everybody at the same time. And two, now we can regulate some of the bad stuff that go on, because now we incorporating these people the kids and so on and so forth. When you incorporate the kids and you get them doing things, they don't have time to be fighting
into
and all that stuff.
Right.
Into stuff. You got basketball tournaments. Make these basketball tournaments worthwhile in these events. You know what I mean? Like not just the basketball tournament, just the basketball tournament. You know, all the kids want spotlight. They want notoriety, and so social media. We had avenues to do that. So to me, like, if you have the resources, now the problem is we got to create our own resources to do it now.
Right.
As opposed to
True.
them already having the resources and saying, to me, I don't know why I haven't been tapped on the shoulder for certain things, but I just say, okay.
Well, you have a proven
myself.
track record too, and that's I kind of have that same fight, because I've been doing this stuff, like my events and stuff there's one particular event that I do. I've been doing it for a very long period of time. I've been doing it very successfully for a long period of time. And sometimes every year I get discouraged, because when I'm doing it, because I'm like, at this point, I feel like that I should have more support.
I agree.
In what I'm doing, because like it's a proven thing. It's not like a money maker where I'm trying to get out here and pillage the community for their pocket, because that was
the thing.
That was a thing at one point when people think that I was out here just trying to rob people of their money.
Right.
And I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? But so for me, it's just like, all right, I know there are people in this community, yourself, a lot of people like you, who have a proven track record of doing things successfully and being able to scale things at a very high level. And yet, I don't think you really get that recognition that you should be getting.
I agree. You think, I look at the Cincinnati Jazz Fest. It's been going on, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Why we don't have a festival, a music festival? You know what I mean? Like, the city has the resources. All you got to do is tap myself, Ron, Jamil, Coles. People who already have certain talents or y'all have the resources.
Right.
We have Johnny B. Wiley. You have places you can do these things and put on, good stuff. You know what I mean? And it might not be a money maker. It might be not a longevity thing, but a legacy thing for us. Where we'd be part of something like that. And even being part of that'll help our other businesses. You know what I mean? So it's not always about the money. You know what I mean? But I don't know why we don't. So sometimes, I just chalk it like, okay, I'm just doing myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Excuse me. So Dennis, I have a question. I know this is something that you don't want to do for the rest of your life, or is it?
What?
All of the party plan and everything. Is that something you want to do for the rest of your life?
I'm gonna say yeah, because when I retire, I want to be able to. I'm not one of the people gonna be sitting in the house. Yeah. So I want to have event. More than likely, we're gonna be going to Bills trips. You know what I mean? So if it's just a couple times a year going to the Bills trips and having the event here or there, classic events. To me. No, we don't go out every week, but we want to go out a couple times a year. You know what I mean? So I want to be able to go buy an outfit, you know what I mean? So to me, I want to have that where, Miami Nights, you got to look for your white, and now you got to get your shoes, you got to make sure, if some people go get the watches and all the extra stuff that go along with it. I mean, Westside came with all his cars one year, you know what I mean? So to me, you need those things to look forward to. And I see a lot of people who retire and then if they don't have nothing to do, they don't last long. So, as you get older, just because you get older, man, I want to be still out there playing basketball when I'm older, you know what I mean? Still active. So, I hope to be able to keep doing these things. Obviously, you don't want to have a nightclub party at 65.
That's why I said this stuff. Do you want?
It might be a day bingo party or something. You know what I mean?
Probably the most lit bingo party ever, yo.
But you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm talking about, the festivals now. You know what I mean? Like, so to me, that's the graduation. The graduation, okay, when we started Miami Nights, it was late night. Now Miami Nights is in the evening. You know what I mean? As we got older, we still get the younger crowd. Now the younger crowd, when they leave, they can go out. Older crowd, if they tired, they can go home. A lot of times they going to eat.
Go straight home.
And then they go home. You know what I mean? And so now for the natural maturation of it, we opened the Oak Room restaurant, and then for me, the festival, something bigger. I got some other stuff going on that I can't talk about until we, get some stuff going on. I mean, ironed out, but to me, that's the next keep elevating. You want to make sure you elevate. And so if they're not going to help you elevate, you got to do it on your own.
So Dennis, what legacy is it that you want to leave here in your own city?
To me, just your name. Like, you know what I mean? When somebody say your name, what does that mean? Like when you say my name, like if somebody come in this town and say, yo, who does this or Dennis Wilson? To me, that's your legacy. What does they say about you? You know what I mean? It's certain people, if you ask me about, oh, that's my man. Yo, he do this, he do that, he do that. I know the guys, the key players in this different cities now. And so to me, they already created their legacy. The fact that I'm not even in their city and I know who they are and what they're doing. And so I want to make sure, and I know I have to a point, but to me now it's just starting to get to the
little buzzing.
The legacy or the financial part is starting to match the reputation. You know what I mean? For years, it's like, man, everybody know you. You got this reputation, but man, it's still a struggle. You know what I mean? And now the financial thing is starting to even out or catch up. And so I just want to make sure that I leave here with a little decent, nice nest egg for the next generation and a legacy that people say that he did something positive and he made a difference.
And you've definitely been doing it, bro.
I only have one more question.
Go ahead.
You good? Okay.
I got one more question myself.
You do? Okay. Is there a mistake that you've made in building any of your businesses that you can say, this is the one thing I say do not do, or the one thing you should do when building a business?
I guess the mistake is doing too much.
Okay.
And I don't know how it started, but sometimes like I've been fortunate enough to be good in multiple areas, and probably the mistake is not figuring out which one or pursuing one area, and then mastering that. And if I can go back, I probably would try to do it that way. Okay. The problem is, even to this day, I can't pick which one it is. You know what I mean? And so that's the hard part. I love basketball, so I was a basketball player. I would have loved to pursue basketball. Maybe I'd have been a coach or whatever. You know what I mean? Graphics, it's just to me that was the biggest thing. Other than that, everything else was just been about growing and learning from your mistakes, and going from there. I can't think of anything that I say, oh man, I wish I wouldn't have did that.
Yeah.
It's just some mistakes you just got to learn from them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Obviously in the restaurant we up and down. Oh man, we shouldn't have did that. We should have did this. We should have said this. You know what I mean? So, but it's really just that. All these different lanes, man, just picking one and mastering it. And then, like I said, once you master it, the money come, and then you can go back and pick up the other areas if you want.
Yeah. Okay. The money comes, the secret location comes, then the private jets come.
Hey man, gotta live life. I need that private jet all the time. I'm still only once every 10 years.
Yeah, my man is living life abundantly right now. Dennis, we about to wrap up, bro. But before we do, I got one last question. And you referenced your wife a lot tonight, right? Your wife is a dynamic person. I mean, you've talked a lot about her, how she's helped you, how you guys helped each other. Can you just talk about like the importance of having a mate who supports you in that way, right? Because oftentimes people think that you can't walk and chew gum at the same time, right? I can't be in a relationship and try to grow a business and multiple businesses, right? So, but for you, it seemed like you getting married is only elevated everything else that you have going on in your life. So can you talk about
But that's another show in itself.
Yeah. We're going to have y'all back on the pod together, actually.
It definitely, so I can honestly say when I got married, my life improved as it's supposed to.
Yeah.
But we was fortunate enough to meet at a time, or I ain't say meet because we knew each other prior, but we used to romantically getting involved at a time where we both needed the same things and we were able to kind of, it's just like that chemistry, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that you just can't, you don't know who you're gonna have chemistry with or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the chemistry was there, and everything, like credit, like she knew about credit. I was kind of, I knew a little bit. I was getting there, but then she helped me with my credit, and now everything, even with the events. One thing I was scared about, because when you first start doing the events, you single. So people do come to see you.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm sitting there like, man, I don't know if people gonna be coming to see me. Like now it's all, it's a rap, and I don't know how this gonna go. And it just took the focus off of me, and it's just the event now. People don't come see me; they come to the event. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I can focus at the event because I'm focused on the actual event, the work. Because I'm not worried about who's there. You know what I mean? I don't have to get nobody's attention. Like even my wife, I don't have to. She does her own thing. She goes. We check in into each other or whatever. But we kind of do our thing. Even with her event, now she is doing me and her thing. You know what I mean? So she got her crew and everything she got going on. So it's just, to me, it's a blessing. I feel like you definitely need a partner. You need to be able to go home and debrief. Mm-hmm. Some days you have a bad day. Like we had the shooting at McKinley. Mm-hmm. When I got home, it's like, I didn't get home till like 8:30 because we was locked in the building, and I had the guns pointed to me by the police. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I'm from the hood, but I never had the police point guns at me like that. Like, you know what I mean? And they was big guns, you know what I mean? So I was a little scared because I had a hoodie on.
Not the little
and I was coming up a hiding spot too, you know what I mean? So it was just like little, and then you come home, you need to debrief. You need somebody who really cares about you. Too, when you enter in deals or meetings, you need to be able to go talk to somebody because your wife should see everything that you don't see.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And they'll tell you, no, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be around them. I don't want you around them. You know what I mean? And you have to listen because a lot of times they have your best interest at heart. And so you need that. And to me, that's the elevation of me. I can honestly say from everything in my life has went so much better since I've been married, financially, like I said, it's starting to catch up to the reputation, you know what I mean? Everything. And it's, that's one of the reasons why I try to make sure I lead by example too. So you won't see me out here wilding and acting a damn fool because I represent myself, but I represent her. I represent what we built, and I represent obviously the Oak Room and all that other stuff. So if I go messing up, it's a lot of chain reactions to go along with that.
Like
and two, you don't want to embarrass your partner, your spouse, or whatever too. So to me, I advise people to get married. I do because I think it's a beautiful thing. Obviously, you got to marry the right person and don't get married too early. I feel like people got married young and then it's you change so much. You know what I mean? Yeah. We at this age now, we ain't changing. We not. You know what I mean?
Good.
Yeah, I don't care how much money you give me. Like, you know what I mean? You can give me $10 million right now. I'm still gonna be the same person. I'm probably gonna do some of the same things. They might be a little bit better places, but you know what I mean? It's the same, like we're gonna be the same people. We're not changing as you change from 20 to 25 to 30, 35. You're a whole different person you was 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But
that's a big fact.
In 10 years, I'll be the same person. Just a little less hair.
I don't know if you get less than what you already have, bro.
Yeah, it'd be less than that. We're gonna have a little LeBron joint.
little patch. A little lace front in the patch.
This got braids.
Just don't do the Akon joint.
No, that joint terrible. Jesus Christ, that joint like a comb. That joint awful.
Don't do the Akon out here. But no, Dennis, this has been amazing. This has been an amazing conversation.
Yes,
we definitely want to have you back.
Anytime.
And definitely have your wife come back with you, man. Because
Are you gonna have Sally on with you?
Yeah, I think we should. We should definitely have that conversation.
Yeah, right. Them two together.
Hey, love the girl.
Oh, Sally, you're right, man. You already know.
Listen, man, but no, this has been an amazing conversation, and I really hope that people was able to pull some stuff away from some of the things that he was saying, especially around event planning and the things that you guys need to do to be successful and to scale your events. Be creative in your thinking. Make sure you have a good team around you as well. Know your finances, know your money. Get a day off quarter. I mean, so many different things, so many different areas, so many different gems that he touched on.
You are your brand.
You are your brand.
You are your brand.
You are your brand, and you have to make sure that you protect it at all costs and have integrity in everything that you do. All right, so I mean, my man just had a whole master class on the so, but we appreciate you, bro. So if people wanted to connect with you online, support your brands, like how can they connect with you?
My website, MrDWilson.com. You pretty much see everything on there. My bio, my videos. Hopefully, once I get this video, I'll be throwing this up there so you can see it. The events, what's coming up. Sign up for the newsletter so you'll get all the up-to-date details, and also links to my social media on there. But all my social media is at Mr. D Wilson. Okay. So that's pretty much it, man. And I'm an open book. You ask, I try to make sure I respond. I don't leave nobody hanging, and I'll try to try to help it to the best of my ability.
Yeah. I'm excited for what you got coming, Dennis. I really am.
That's one thing. I'll say this, and we wrap it up. But that's one of the things I appreciate you about the most, bro, because you're a super humble person. You are a resource to a lot of people, and with all the success that you've had, you've had every reason just to kind of like, like I'm good with my stuff, but you find a way of always making sure that you reach that hand back and bring people along.
I'm still trying to go to a different level, man. I'm watching these boys in New Orleans, Miami, LA, Toronto, man, and I'm watching what they doing, and they doing some amazing stuff, and I've been trying to tap into them so I can kind of learn and kind of pick up some stuff. So, they ain't
always learning.
Hey, you have to, man.
That's good.
That's super dope.
That's
bro.
The next level.
Well, we appreciate you, King.
My guy.
Thank you, man. And we appreciate you guys for checking out another episode of We Are the Ones podcast. Make sure you follow us on all of the major streaming platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Audible as well. Make sure you hit us up on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment on our YouTube channels as well, and follow us across all of our social media channels at We Are the Ones podcast.
And remember, keep winning on purpose because you are the one we've been waiting for.